Ladies and gentlemen, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name, I am your host, Data T. And this is my channel, The Good Guys. Today's story, guys, comes out of Pittsburgh. This is Jeannette, Pennsylvania, And the title reads, DA won't file charges in death of man shot, killed in, this is specifically in Jeannette, Pennsylvania. Okay? Guys, before we get into today's story, if you guys wouldn't mind leaving a like, a comment, and subscribing, I would appreciate it. And let us dive into today's story.
News. For more than 2 years, a local family has been hoping that charges would be filed in their loved one's death. But today, the DA said it's not going to happen.
Royce Jones is here to explain how the DA reached this conclusion, why the family argues that conclusion is wrong. Royce.
Well, Kim, back in October 2019, 29-year-old Mariel McGowan Means, along with two other men, were shot outside a home in Jeannette. The two other guys lived, but McGowan died at the hospital about an hour later. Ever since, DA Nicole Ziccarelli says she and a team of prosecutors have been looking into what led up to this shooting, in which time Ziccarelli has determined the person who shot McGowan acted out of self-defense. She says the man was at his home with his family when he learned the three men were allegedly armed and coming to the house to harm him. The man also alleges the trio had been involved in a brutal assault and home invasion earlier that day that he knew about. She says after warning the men not to come, they came to the guy's house anyway, and he shot McGowan, killing him out of fear for his life and his family's lives. But McGowan's family says the DA's got it all wrong, that all of the men, including the shooter, were actually friends, and that they were going to there to resolve a disagreement, but there was nothing threatening about it.
Okay, before we let's hear what the family has to say. I believe they're going to say something here. I want to say this. Usually what happens, guys, sometimes in a self-defense case, after some time passes, obviously a civil suit comes and they want to sue for damages. But then that is after the DA, this is in criminal court, if they are going to file charges against the shooter. In a self-defense case, this is what usually happens. Sometimes it's right away, sometimes it's months later after evidence is collected. And this can be tragic and heart-wrenching for those who have a family member who shot and killed. And then it can also be crazy for the person who did the self-defense shooting, knowing he did something right. He's got to wait and sit for months to realize, or for them to decide, hey, we're not going to charge you. Hey, we are going to charge you. You know, that is tough. That is hard to deal with. And, you know, there are certain insurances out there. I know the USSCCA or the USSCA, the Concealed Association for America, they have insurance. There's some other ones out there. That was just the one that was on top of my mind. And they can help with this. You can get insurance. If you're well off, then you can afford the attorney. But it's tough. And let's see what they had to say. But my issue also here, if we think about this, if the individual knew that they had done something prior, why didn't he call the police? But then at the same time, I can understand him not trying to call the police, because then he doesn't want to be labeled as a snitch. But in this case, you know, since he didn't do that, they came to his house. If he had said something earlier, maybe they wouldn't have. Right? when it comes to crime, guys, I think, you should report it. Period. It's sad, and I guess, in this case, he knew them, or this is a claim that he knew him. Who do you tell on your friend? Ultimately, I think that's what it comes down to. But let's see what they have to say. I'm rambling.
So there's another person that gave a statement, actually, that saw part of what happened down there, that my son got out the car, never got on his porch, never went around his property. They have that statement, but they're still calling it self-defense. My son didn't go to his porch, wasn't on his porch. He was unarmed.
Zuccarelli says that she feels for the family's loss, but has no facts that would justify a prosecution. The family stands by their point that McGowan reportedly never went on the property and that self-defense should not be applied here. They also wonder why, since the shooter knew the men were coming there, why he didn't, call the police, or why he even felt threatened enough to shoot them in the first place. But the bottom line, the DA says this case is closed.
Well, you heard it there, and this is that's tough, and a lot of that from the mother is hearsay. She wasn't there. She doesn't know the other side, and this guy's assessment of, or the mother's assessment of why the guy didn't call. That is a valid question, but I'm sure in the months of investigating, but not even in this case, guys, it's years. Looks like it says here 2.5 years ago. They had to investigate for a very long time, and they realized, hey, this is self-defense. And what probably will happen is the family will file a civil suit after this and try to get damages, and that sucks. I wish there was a law written that, hey, once you have self-defense in a criminal case, all this criminal or civil stuff where they try to go after your money and your assets is mute. You cannot do that. That is the part of U.S. law that I really cannot stand. Nobody should be able to go after you in your assets, especially surviving family members of the bad guy. That sucks. But looks like the guy who defended himself and his home is the good guy. And that's according to the DA, the district attorney. Good people have guns. Okay? Good people have guns. And if good men do nothing, there will be no good guys.